tournament matchup against the Brooklyn Nets, basically due to lack of execution defensively down the stretch of the game. We're going to talk about it all and more right after this.
You are now tuned in to Chicago Bulls Central, your number one place for all Chicago Bulls news and content.
What's going on, Bulls fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bulls Central, breaking down the latest Chicago Bulls loss. This time, the Chicago Bulls dropped their game to the Brooklyn Nets, and there's some questionable stuff down the stretch of the game. Specifically, the last decision for the Chicago Bulls, which you clearly see with them bringing Drummond in there, having Drummond and Vooch. The whole game plan was to miss that second free throw. But with 4 seconds, I kind of would have much rather the Bulls, Zach LaVine went ahead and made the free throw, them try to foul, and then just try to get the three after that. But, they made the decision that they made. Zach LaVine misses what would have been a game winner on just a bad shot. It was a bad shot, but I don't know if you're going to get a good shot with 4.9 seconds left either way. But this was one of those losses where, again, the Chicago Bulls, just lack of execution down the stretch of the game. That's really what it just came down to. The lack of execution down the stretch of the game. The Chicago Bulls were shooting over 50% from both three and the field prior to halftime. In the second half of the game, the Chicago Bulls just shoot much worse from three-point range. They go 2 of 11 in the second half of the game after going 9 of 17 in the first half of the game. That's kind of where the difference is. While the Chicago Bulls went 2 of 11 in the second half of the game. Now, the Brooklyn Nets didn't shoot an amazing percentage either, but they went 7 of 24. They shot 29%. But once again, the Chicago Bulls lose a game just due to simple math as far as on the offensive side. On the lack of defensive execution down the stretch, letting a player like Dorian Finney-Smith just go off on you. Vooch was much more involved in the second half of the game, so shout out to him there. They wasted one of Kobe White's best games as far as scoring as well. Now, he shot the ball inefficiently, but it is what it is there. You just want to see better execution from the Bulls than what we saw in this game. And it's unfortunate that yet again, the Bulls fall short to just simple math, simple execution, not as much heart as what was needed either from the Chicago Bulls team. Listen, that just is what it is, man. The Bulls fall to now 2-4 on the season with the game coming up tomorrow night, which they play at 9 o'clock at night. I think it is tomorrow. It's against the Denver Nuggets. I think we play against tomorrow. Maybe I'm wrong on the opponent there. No, I'm right. Listen. It's funny how I memorized the schedule. So we face the Denver Nuggets tomorrow at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central Time. So it's going to be a late game, and we'll see what the Bulls, if they can perform better. Vooch usually plays really good against Nikola Jokic, so we'll see what happens there. Let's turn it over to some of the comments. Albert Soto says, sick of this. Listen, I feel you. I feel you there, brother. Spike Boy 195 says, well, shit. Yeah, it sucks. This really sucks. Darren Lick says, dang it. Yeah, man. This sucks. Michael in the building says, I keep watching too sad. Listen, you guys know I'm not one of those fair weather fans. I'm going to always watch. It's unfortunate that the Bulls lose yet again. It just is what it is there, man. It's unfortunate. The Bulls just keep finding ways to show flashes, look pretty good in stretches. It just sucks. It sucks. It really, you know what it is? Here's what I'll say, right? The one thing about being a content creator is that, other than, I forgot what was the third loss of the season, I can't remember. I typically come on here and like to break stuff down, right? As a fan, I really just want to rage and just be like, the Bulls suck, this and that. But it really, as a content creator, you have to kind of break things down, right? And ultimately, it just comes down to the Bulls lack heart. Like when games are close, and the Bulls, almost every game so far for the season for the Chicago Bulls have been close games down the stretch. And what we keep seeing is that the Bulls just don't have that heart, that push in late parts of games that other teams have, and it really causes them to lose. And it's unfortunate to see it repeatedly. Your team keeps getting affected by the same thing. Yeah. It just, being a Bulls fan sucks sometimes, man. Sorry, typing in this title, but yeah, it just, here we go again. That's just really what it boils down to. Is here we go again. This team does not work together. This one's from Chuck K. Listen, I think that we've seen this team have versions of working together, right? But it's a lot needed. This was so dumb. This was easily a game we could have won. Now we about to get blown out by the Nuggets. I hope not, but man, we suck so bad. I mean, listen, usually when we doubt the Bulls like that, they show up. So we'll end up seeing. I mean, I don't know. Samir says, I hate P. Will. Why does he wait to play well once being benched? He's played well other than the seasons and stretches. He was way more consistent this game. But again, keep in mind, he's up there against some bench players. So it is what it is there, man. It sucks. This team, man, too many threes by the Nets. Yeah, I mean, listen, they didn't shoot it like amazingly well or anything like that. But again, we said coming into this game, right? In my daily episode today, I talked about how important it was for the Chicago Bulls to try to defend the three ball well. And they shot 29% in the second half of the game, right? After shooting 50% in the first half, did the Denver Nuggets, did the Brooklyn Nets. But when it came down to it, though, is that they just made more than the Chicago Bulls, right? So I mean, it sucks. You go 2 of 11, the other team goes 7 of 29. Yeah, neither team shot it hugely effectively, but guess what? The higher number wins in a case like this, right? My brother BKR Sports said, literally through my phone, literally hate this team. Hey, look, it's a thin line between love and hate. Thin line between love and hate. BKR Sports says, love this team, but I God fucking hate this team. Shout out to you, bro. Skid says, why lie? Nobody lied. Did you actually watch the game? This team played like cheeks down the stretch, but they were in this game this was an easily winnable game. Easily winnable game. Let's not just talk about the results. Let's talk about how they got to the results. This was a game that the Bulls could have absolutely won this game. The lack of execution down the stretch, once again, fails the Chicago Bulls. Blowing it up isn't happening. I don't know why you guys keep calling for blowing it up like that's going to change anything. Do you trust this front office to draft well in a blow-up situation? I tell you what, for everybody calling for blowing it up, the moment that the Chicago Bulls have 2 20-win seasons back-to-back are going to say, well, why do we gave up Zach LaVine for 2 firsts. Those 2 firsts didn't turn into shit. Like it's going to, like, at the end of the day, blowing it up ultimately, usually, doesn't work. Tanking doesn't work typically, unless you're the Spurs. Then they always find a way to make it work. Let's Talk Bulls says they stopped attacking the rim as much in the later half of the fourth. Yep, and it sucks. It sucks. Zach panicked with that shot. Oh, absolutely. Like a shot with 4.9 seconds left on the clock, right? And at that point, it was a little bit less than that because someone had ticked off because he missed the free throw, right? But he missed the free throw intentionally. Let me be clear. Missing the free throw was an intentional thing, but that just wasn't a good shot. It wasn't a good shot. And not to say that a better shot was out there, because, I mean, I don't know if a better shot was even possible in a case like that, but it shouldn't have even gotten to that point. Had the Bulls executed better down the stretch, it wouldn't have even gotten to that point. Now, that doesn't excuse Zach for missing a shot, right? Like I said, bad shot, but it sucks that yet again, we're talking about a team in the Chicago Bulls that played well in stretches of this game, briefly took the lead at times of the game, but just continually failed at having enough to make it over the hump. That's what we keep talking about with this team, and it sucks, man. It sucks. Zach in the whole fourth pissed me off. Listen, and you have every right for that. Fourth quarter of this game for Zach LaVine. Let's go over the fourth quarter for him. He played 9 minutes. He goes 2 of 6 from the field, has two assists in this game and 5 points from your highest paid player on the team. That's not acceptable. Not in a close game like this. Now, they did spread it out. Some DeMar had 6 points also. Vooch had 5 points in the stretch. But again, this was the time where Zach LaVine, what did I say? For me, coming into this year, it wasn't about stats for Zach. It wasn't that I wanted to see Zach average 30 points per game. It wasn't anything like that. I specifically said the thing that I wanted to see the most from Zach is him step it up in important moments, right? Be the reason why we win the game at times, right? I didn't care if Zach LaVine averaged 20 points per game, 18 points per game. I probably would start saying something if it was 18. But I just wanted to see Zach LaVine step up at the important moments, the important times, to just have moments of just being the guy that wins the Chicago Bulls game. More games like this, like he had in the play-in tournament against Toronto. We have not seen that. For the large part of the season, it's been a bunch of bad from Zach and the team overall. The team overall is shooting like shit too. So it is what it is. We can't seem to win. We don't defend the damn 3-point shots. Also, the shot at the end was trash. We could have had something better, like a full-on drive instead of a pull-up mid-range. That is a great point. Definitely great point on going to that, try to drive and get some contact. The only thing about that is if the refs, you put it in the refs' hands then. If you don't get contact and the team plays you defensively, then people would have said, hey, you had some space out there, right? The Bulls, the way that the Bulls lack execution, I will never trust until they win a bunch. I would never trust them to be able to win in a close game like this down the stretch. Yeah, we did it on the Alex Caruso 3, right? But we just typically don't execute well enough down the stretch. Bro, Zach should have never went for that layup. Like, slow down and play the pace. The game is on the line. I don't get it. Listen, I mean, getting to the free throw line in a case like that, like the thing with if it was DeMar, right? You would have trusted DeMar to get the basket and go to the free throw line, and the free throw would have tied the game. Zach doesn't finish around contact like that. So it's weird. BKR Sports says, whenever we have someone have a pop-off game, Levine 51, Kobe tonight, we still find a way to lose. Yeah. Yeah. It just is what it is. And good news, would like to blow it up for some young prospects. The team doesn't work. I will guarantee y'all, no time soon is this team blowing it up. None. There's almost zero chance that this team is blowing it up within the next. They may retool. Not to say they won't make a major trade. They won't bring in some different talent, but it's not going to be the blow up that a lot of people are calling for. It's not coming. The TWW podcast says I've been a Bulls fan since 2017. So basically nothing good. Listen, I've been a Bulls fan since 1986 when I was born. Literally. I've never rooted for another team. My dad is from Chicago. I have literally never rooted for another team. So listen, I got to see the second three-peat, and it's been a bunch of struggle, a minor bright spot there, and a bunch of struggle afterwards since. And so, listen, it is what it is. Why the Nets acting like they did something? They did. They won. Like, let's be clear. The victors get to celebrate. Now, you can say, how much do you get to celebrate based off how tight the game was and whatever, but the victors get to celebrate. You win the game, you get to celebrate that you won the game, period. Jamoy Fowler says, Haize, I like your calm demeanor right now. I mean, listen, there's no point in me getting all fired up. I did that on like the third game of the season, and there's really no point at this point because the Bulls are showing us who they are. The Bulls are showing us who they are. And until they show us something different, I'm not going to expect any different. This was a tough game. We just can't finish. I don't know anymore. I'm tired of this and wanted to go to some games this year, but I won't spend my hard-earned money on this team. Hey, listen, and I can't blame you for that. If you don't want to spend your money that you work hard for, that you put in the hours for, on a team that performs like this and doesn't show heart down stretches of games, hey, listen, I support your choice in that. It's the little things that the Bulls don't do. And correct, that's so frustrating. Sick of this crap. I wish Michael Reinsdorf would call Bob Myers and let him clean this mess up. That is hilarious. But I feel you, Christian. Jabron, that is a great username, by the way, my friend. Thank you for the super chat, my friend. Says Zach's expression at the end shows losses don't sting. Listen, that whole like nigga. Sorry. Oh shit. There goes the monetization on the stream. So hey, if you guys want to curse up and down the stream now, go ahead. I ruined it. It is what it is. I don't even remember what the hell I was saying now. Yeah, but Zach's like to me, right? And this is pure fan. So this is the content creator and analyst. We're putting that to the side real quick just for this comment. This is just me as a fan, as somebody who is constantly in Bulls gear. I dropped 800 days of episodes in a row. 800 days in a row I've spent talking about this team. And the thing that I can say the most as a fan that hurts is when it seems like a player doesn't give two fucks about losing. And that sucks. That sucks as a fan. Hey, y'all, just got back from getting wings. What's going on? We lost. That's what's going on, Alana. And why you got to rub it in that you got wings. Haize is a better leader than Zach. Oh, that's for absolute sure. Do you see how Chicago Chi-Town Sports Central is killing it? Do you see this brand here? Do you see that brand right there? We're killing it right now. Chicago Bulls Central, Chicago Bears Central, Chicago White Sox Central, Chicago Cubs Central, Chicago Blackhawks. What did I say? Blackhawks Central? Whatever. Chicago Sky Central. We killing it. Absolutely. Absolutely. If you got his favorite Chicago team, we got a podcast for you. But outside of that, man, this team it sucks, man. It sucks to have a team like and that's the thing. I would rather watch the Ben Gordon, Luau Deng, Andres Nocioni, Kurt Heinrich, Tyrus. I would rather watch that 4 to 5 year stretch of that team every single game, because you know what? That team competed. They won 42 games, 41 games. I think they got up to like 49 games one season. And then they failed, and then they got Derrick Rose. But I'm talking about even before that team got Derrick Rose, I would rather watch that team every single day. You know why? Because that team competed. That team, even if they lost the game, they were in it. You respected the heart. You respected the grind. You respected how much effort they put into games. This team is happy losing. That Chicago Bulls team was not happy losing at all. Say what you will about those players since they left. They were not happy losing games. And that is what makes you prideful about being a Chicago Bulls fan. What was Levine doing? He had like 4 seconds on the clock. I'm just so sick of the Bulls playing like LA Fitness team. This offense is by far the worst in the NBA. I'm so frustrated. No, listen, I got to correct you on this. I got to correct you. I'm not saying that most of what you said, I rock with 99.99% of what you just said. But the Chicago Bulls are not the worst offense in the league. They're not the worst offense in the league, not even by a stretch. Have you watched the Portland Trailblazers play games this year? Have you watched the Memphis Grizzlies play games this year? Have you watched some of these teams play games? I'm sorry. I can't get with this team being the worst offensive team in the NBA, because I tell you what, I've seen some teams that just suck. The New York Knicks suck. The Miami Heat suck. Their offense is probably better than the Bulls, though. But the Grizzlies are absolute. Right now, without Ja Morant, that team looks like complete and utter ball cheeks. Ball cheeks? What the fuck did I just say? Did ball cheeks just come out of my mouth? That's crazy. That's wild. We got a new phrase here, ball cheeks. That's what we're going to start saying. Haize, people asking for Blow It Up. Want to see Antonio Blakely and Paul Zipser games again. I'm no longer as emotionally invested as before, so I'm more interested in a great culture eventually. I'm trying to mute it so I didn't cough in your guys' eyes, but I turned off the camera by mistake. Listen, I would love to see a great culture, right? That's what we're talking about with that Kirk Hayward, with that Baby Bulls led era. That team had culture, right? It just did. It just did. It's crazy. We don't have a culture here. We don't have a culture here right now other than struggle. Our culture right now is struggle. Walter in the building says, Billy took Patrick out the fourth for what? We needed his size. We needed his defense. Well, keep in mind, the fact that you said you need Patrick's size and D is wild. But outside of that, Patrick Williams hasn't really played in fourth quarters for like the last 3 or 4 games. So, and as you know, Billy Donovan, he has his trends. He keeps to those trends, whether they're working or not. So that's why you didn't really see Patrick Williams a lot in the fourth quarter. But I'll tell you what, Patrick Williams keeps playing like this with this level of effort. To me, you got to put him out there in the fourth quarter and let him sink or swim. This was a game where Patrick Williams, I think, earned the right to play in the fourth quarter of this game personally. So let's see. I will say if DeMar had his footwork right and gets the 3 rather than the toe on the line, deep 2, we would only needed to make that free throw to tie. That's a great point as well. That's a great point as well there, brother. I don't disagree with you there. Zach is washed. Come on, y'all just throw terms around. Washed? Come on, bro. He's 28 years old. He's not washed. He's not washed. Now he does not step up when we need it, but he's not washed. Been a fan since 1993. It's been back and forth since D Rose and Ben Gordon era. Listen, man. It's been tough. It's been tough. DeMar is clutch. He should have demanded the ball in the second. Have you seen DeMar this season? DeMar is far from clutch, my brother, this season. He's really not. Haize, they are just an inconsistent team. Simple. Well, the thing is, they're consistent in sucking in the fourth quarter of games. Very consistent in that. Very consistent. Very consistent. Laughing my ass off of Philly Hayes. I wanted to smack that damn grin off his face. Listen, that's why I couldn't be a coach. Because if I was the coach of a team and you just lost and put up that type of performance in a close game in the fourth, and I saw you smiling, listen, I'm getting fired. Arturas Karnisovas would have came in the locker room and be like, listen, just hand me the key card, bro. Just hand me the key card, man. They smile like that because they making millions that's promised to them. That's a fact. That's an absolute fact. Who's Tony going off on? That's crazy. Tony going off on somebody. Maybe it's me. I don't even know. I haven't seen a single comment from Tony before now. Nico's World says Zach don't got the Mamba mentality. He not that guy. Listen, it's called the Mamba mentality because it's rare. Most players in the NBA don't have the Mamba mentality. Even some of the superstars in the league don't have Mamba mentality. It just is like that's just the truth. Just because you can step up in the clutch sometimes, the Mamba mentality isn't just that. We got to use a different phrase. The Mamba mentality is so different. Haize, I need a Jordan mentality type player. Not one player on this team has that mentality. But again, that's why it's rare. If it was easy to come across, it is what it is. Ball cheeks is nuts. That's crazy. Ball cheeks. That's crazy. That's wild. We didn't created a phrase. That's crazy. Our culture is ball cheeks culture, man. Absolutely. Hope. Hope got up. Laugh my ass off, Haize. Culture is hope. Hope we make shots. Hope the opponents miss shots. Absolutely. Hope Billy Donovan decides to draw up a scheme that day. You know, it's a simple thing. Simple things. Zach's decision making is ball cheeks. Absolutely, fam. The Zach Levine special. It is what it is. Kendall Riviera says, Riviera. Why am I adding extra letters? I agree with you, Haize. The Bulls' development sucks, but for Zach, you'll get a lot back, maybe for DeMar and Alex Caruso. Yeah, listen, the Bulls hold those, but they're not trading those. This Bulls team is not going rebuild. It's not. Nico's World said, damn, why you hate Tyrus Thomas? I actually don't hate Tyrus Thomas. The fact of the matter is that Tyrus Thomas is one of the perfect examples of potential unrealized because Tyrus Thomas had so much potential coming into this league, not even as an offensive player, as a defender, right? That's one of the reasons, like, he was supposed to be this prototypical, I can guard 2 through 4, I can get block shots, I can rebound at a high rate. And matter of fact, Tyrus Thomas, oddly enough, another player drafted with the 4th overall pick. I'm just going to let that speak for itself. Ball cheeks will be my next username. That's hilarious. Why does this team hate us? Listen, they need to hate themselves. This team needs to look in the mirror and be like, hey, why do we perform like this? What's going on? Why don't we move without the ball? But see, I agree with this. But this is why when people say you just got to have that dog mentality, Tyrus Thomas played with a lot of heart. But you know what? He didn't play with a lot of skill. He was all heart. And matter of fact, there's a lot of similarities between Dalen Terry and Tyrus Thomas. Now, Tyrus Thomas was able to get on the basketball court. I will give him that. And Tyrus Thomas did have a couple of 20-point games. But listen, Tyrus Thomas was literally all effort, no skill at all. None. No refined. Tyrus Thomas didn't have a single refined skill other than jumping. You could put a parlay on the Bulls upon. I'm not putting no parlay. I don't bet. I don't even understand that. We didn't trade LA for Tyrese Thomas. We traded with Portland for Tyrese Thomas. We sent them LaMarcus Aldridge, and we got their pick that became Tyrese Thomas. I know my Bulls history, my brother. Bring back Denzel Valentine, Jalen Hutchinson duo. Whoa. First of all, I got to ask you this. In what world, realm, universe, multiverse, uterus, in what one of those do you really want to see Denzel Valentine and Chandler Hutchinson back? Because that doesn't make any sense to me, brother. Makes zero sense to me. If you were the GM, take the way the Bulls are out of it. What trade are you doing? If they're 10 games under 500, are you making moves at the deadline? Well, listen, I'm making moves at the deadline anyway. You got a $10 million disabled player exception. You still got half your mid-level exception. You still got your biannual player exception. You know what you can do with those three things? The disabled player exception means that you can trade for a player in either the last year, well, at this point, it have to be the last year of their deal. You can trade with a player and absorb that. You can maybe send out something back. With the rest of your mid-level exception and your biannual exception, those two things can make you players on the buyout market because then you can sign players using that. The Bulls, if I was a GM, I would look at all three avenues if we're that far under. Who can I get to absorb into the disabled player exception? Because then, because it has to be an expiring contract, it then gives me negotiating power with them in the summer. Who's the best buyout player? Because listen, we got more mid-level exception than any other team in the league, meaning that if it's money that they want, we can go out there and get you. So the best player that gets bought out this offseason, I'm going out and getting them, right? Those are the things. But we know we can't, that we're not going to do that because, again, unfortunately, because of ownership, we aren't going to go into the luxury tax. And either one of those things will send us into the dreaded luxury tax. What if we had Lonzo? It would be completely different. If we had Lonzo Ball never went down with injury, instead of trying to, we have spent now 2 off seasons trying to find ways to replace things that Lonzo already brought to this team. So you're talking about 2 years of mid-level exceptions. Had the Bulls been able to use that to fill the gaps that this team had before Lonzo went down, we're talking about being in a completely different spot right now. A completely different spot. Black Prophet says, "Hey, I'm pissed off at this team. Let's bring in Dwight Howard to motivate these." That is hilarious. That's funny. Shout out to Melvin in the building. I can't remember the last time Zach LaVine hit a big time bucket or game winner for someone of a max player. Only one I remember was 3 seasons ago against the Knicks. That was 3 seasons ago. No. Well, I mean, listen, we won our first playing game because of Zach LaVine. Let's be clear here. Zach LaVine also, if I'm not mistaken, down the stretch of last season, he had like 5 games in a row where he had like 35 points again. So yeah, big buckets is, I get what you're saying, but Zach LaVine has had games over the last few years where we haven't even needed major buckets because of how well he played in the game overall. But I do admit, and I will agree with you. Like I said, coming into this season, the thing that I wanted to see from Zach LaVine the most was him to step up in the big moments. It's really what I wanted to see. Haven't seen it. Haven't seen it. Bulls' whole team is a mid-level exception. That is hilarious. Hilarious. Do you think Tibbs should have been fired? No, I don't think. I think at that point, when Tibbs was fired, to me, that was the Chicago Bulls putting feelings over business. Because Tom Thibodeau, while not a perfect coach, and while I will say this, he probably at the most had probably about 2 years left before like Tom Thibodeau it runs out of course, right? So, it is what it is there. It sucks. But I would have kept Tom Thibodeau on for a little while longer, personally. I would have spent a lot of money to bring in maybe an assistant that could have really helped him maybe on that offensive side of the ball, because that's where we started seeing the Bulls kind of stagnate at. But, it is what it is. DeMar is a defensive liability. DeMar DeRozan, I love him. I love him. I love what the mentality he brings to this team. I love him as a person. But DeMar DeRozan is literally one of the worst defensive players that I've ever seen in my life. People talk about Zach LaVine's defense. Zach LaVine's defense is head and shoulders above DeMar DeRozan's defense. I'm sorry, especially this season. DeMar DeRozan is so bad defensively that sometimes you have to look at him and be like, hey, are you near? Do you need contacts maybe? Did you not see the defender? Did you just not see them? Did you not see them, or were you looking in the? Because Demar got a lot of side children, so maybe one of his side children showed up to the arena, and he was like, "Oh crap, is the side chick here too?" Maybe that's what happened. Because sometimes DeMar DeRozan just falls asleep on defense, and you're just like, "Hey, bro, what's happening here, fam?" They should do a 30 for 30 on Bulls close games. No, because listen, it's not 30 for 30, it's 0 for 30 on Bulls close games. It's no point in that. No point in that. The Bulls defense would be perfect for Tibbs. Oh, agreed. Agreed. And especially with the way that Tibbs does make adjustments, for sure. Donovan takes Drummond out when he's cooking and Drummond in when he's ass. Just the phrasing those last three words together. Why? But nonetheless, no matter what that clown plays Drummond 3 minutes a quarter like he's an hourly employee, that's funny. That's funny. Haize, going to my first Bulls game against the champs. I don't know. I'm nervous. Hope we don't get blown out. Hey, man, listen. I will say this. I'm gonna pray for you because I hope that your first Bulls game isn't seeing a blowout. That sucks. That sucks. That really sucks. Life is good says, with this team, why would you go over the cap? They are over the cap. The Bulls have been over the salary cap every year of their existence. That's just the nature of the NBA. They're considerably over the cap. They're what, 20 something million over the cap? They're just not into the luxury tax. Luxury tax and cap are very different things. How do you think the Bulls can stop teams from hitting so many threes? Defend. I don't like hope, pray, get your arms up. Don't put on deodorant. So maybe your must causes the other team's eyes to start watering and missing shots. I don't know what to tell you there. I don't know what to tell you. Nah, Haize, not the side chicks catching strays. Listen, it's not a stray. I'm just saying. I didn't say nothing bad about them. I just said that they may have showed up to the arena. That's it. Hey, Debo definitely got like 5 kids, LOL, like 2 to 3. And it's so funny because he's been married the whole time, right? And like when that one baby popped up, like DeMar just popped up sitting with the baby at the shout out to his wife. His wife is amazing because like you never heard any controversy. The new children live with them too. So it's like, hey, they over there doing their own thing. It is what it is. They doing their own thing. I'm not here to judge. I'm not here to judge. Who was the worst defender, Boozer or DeMar? Oh, absolutely. No, I say DeMar is the worst defender. But here's the thing, though. It's hard to judge because that Chicago Bulls team was such a good communicative team as far as communicating on the defensive side of the ball that it made a lot of people look better defensively than what they were because that was just such a good defensive system. The communication was good. So I would say that plays a part in it as well. That is why, and what things that we talk about here, that is how you really can just step up in certain ways and be a better defender. So that's that. I'll say that. But listen, Booz had Joakim Noah next to him. He had an all-time great defender. So yo, Haize, if we just would have let Billy's first contract expire without re-upping him after the Buck series, who would have been the first person you reached out to come in? Listen, like I always say, it's not about a name. To me, I want to see whenever the Bulls do move on from Billy Donovan, I want to see them go and get the next great head coach. I don't want to see them go after a name. I don't want to see who's some of the Mark Jackson. I don't want to see him. I don't want to see Doc. I don't want to see nobody that we know. I want the Bulls to do an extensive search and find the guy who's going to be the person to build Bulls culture over the next 6 to 8 years. That's what I want to see. I don't want to see another name. I don't. I want the Bulls to go out and find their version of Eric Spoelstra. The guy who worked, you're not going to have enough time for them to work their way up from the video department. But I mean, in the sense that nobody knew who Eric Spoelstra was when he took over as the head coach of the Miami Heat, except people in the Miami Heat organization. I want us to go find the next great head coach. That's what I want us to do. Gio says, Haize, who can the Bulls target who is a point guard, high IQ floor general, even if that means moving off one of the mid three, a plus minus future pick? Bulls decision making kills this team every time. Listen, no, at this point where I'm at, I don't want to see the Bulls give up any future assets to try to salvage this team. I would much rather see this team die, kill it dead, let it come to, just like, keep in mind, the Bulls never went full rebuild when they got Derrick Rose. That team steadily built year after year after year. The 1 year that they did not make the playoffs, they got the number 1 overall pick. I'm not saying the Bulls are going to be that lucky, but I'm just saying that at this point, I want to maintain all future assets because I hope that they're going to start drafting better, and then we can start getting pieces that are going to be big parts of this team going forward. That's what I would much rather see. The Flaming Turtle, thank you for the super chat, brother. Says Bulls got to get that Vera Jow, no shower kind of must. That's hilarious. That's funny. Debo shouldn't have deodorant no more. That's funny. That's hilarious. Debo, never use deodorant again. CF Football Candy says to do that, we have a competent GM. I think people, like, I'll say this. Arturas Karnisovas, since the Lonzo injury, has tried to rebound from that terribly. But let's not act like this team that AK did not get DeMar, get Zoe, get Alice Caruso in a year where the team had zero cap space. We had no cap space that year. Now, yes, it took future assets to be able to bring that team together, but that team was working. Number 1 team in the East. We wouldn't have stayed that at all. Let's be clear. We probably would have dropped down to about 4th or 5th with the lack of size and lack of three-point shooting that team had. But then you have a major piece and a $20 million contract you've got nothing out of other than 35 games. So, no, AK is competent. He's not made the best decisions in rebounding from that team that he built to move off that vision. But AK is more than competent. He's more than competent. Haize, this is my message to Pat Bev. STFU, bozo. Billy D is not a good coach. Is you want players to run your plays, then you let them know that you will bench their ass. Listen, I told, like, the Mar thing is more so the lack of movement off ball is something you got to stop practice for. El Trapo says, stay strong, Bulls Nation. Hey, let's pray. Let us pray. All right. Let us pray. The accountability, though, is that the GM built this team, right? So, no, the GM does have an accountability for the product that he puts on the floor because he is. Now, that doesn't take from the personal accountability that the players have for the way that they execute. But guess what? We knew that this team had flaws coming into this, and that is based off roster construction. You know, another thing, that some of the roster construction flaws could have been better had we drafted better. So, no, the product on the court, the GM absolutely has an accountability for. The players also have a personal accountability for their play. But let's be clear. The things that are ailing this team were things that we kind of expected with the way that this team was constructed. Roster construction is important. So it is what it is. Kendall says, hey, Haize, at least the games are close and watchable as a fan so far. Fuck it. I mean, listen, there is something to be said about that. Bathor Payne with the super chat. Thank you for supporting the channel, my brother. You know I always appreciate you. It's looking more and more like DeRozan should get dealt in February, but will they is the question. Right? The GM built a team that can't mesh together, plain and simple, and got a coach who can't develop. Nothing but facts on that one, bro. You just dropped nothing but facts. I'm trying to look for the applause sound effect. What happened to my applause? There we go. No Dwight. But yeah, for sure on that one. So I completely agree with you. Completely agree with you. AK is the glass half full kind of guy, but his team is half empty. That's a bar, bro. Shout out to that was a bar, JDH. I keep sending the super chats without my damn message attached. I'm bald cheeks at this YouTube thing. That's funny, bro. That's funny. I pray they blow this team up some way because they are trash. Listen, I get it and I understand. Like I've always said, like when I say that this team isn't going to blow it up, it's not because I think you guys are crazy for asking for that. It's not because I think or I don't understand what that's rooted in. I just review and pay attention to this front office, and I don't think that they are going to. I don't get that inclination from them. Um, I saw an excellent analysis today on why Germany and Lithuania beat US in the Olympics. It has to do with off-ball movement and NBA trends. Haize is 100 on ball cheeks movement too. Listen, and that's the thing, right? That's why you're starting to see players from the US start getting passed up, right? It's because we're not teaching fundamentals anymore. We don't follow our shots. We don't do off-ball movement. Everything has become about getting three-pointers, right? And that's going to be something that definitely hurts. It definitely hurts. Just being in a close game with the Nets just shows how bad. That's a good point. That's definitely a good point. No, continuity doesn't work. You know why? Because of bad roster construction, not because of ownership. You can't blame everything on ownership. I keep proving you like it's not ownership because you know what? We had the same ownership when we made the playoffs 5 years in a row. We had the same ownership when we had four or 5 years of being at 500 or above for 5 years in a row. We had the same ownership when we won titles. We had the same ownership when we made it to an ECF. So you can't blame ownership for everything because it takes making smart decisions to get to where you need to go. Because guess what? The limit that the ownership places on it is just getting to the luxury tax. Once again, you can build a solid team without getting into the luxury tax. The struggles that the Bulls are having right now aren't because they don't pay the tax. It's because this team isn't built properly. You got to stop with the ownership shit, bro. Like you are at this point a nagging spouse. You don't even pay attention to the facts. It's ownership. What ownership? AK scratched his ass. Ownership. Ownership. AK didn't draft well for 15 years in a row. Ownership. What the fuck are you talking about? Montez in the building. Shout out to Montez. Know what to do with it. What? I must have missed something. Oh, here it goes. This team can only be really good with Vooch as captain. They pay Zach the max, so they're not going to let that happen. They just say they built the team around Zach. Truth is, they just put talent together and don't know what to do with it. Where's the thing? You say Zach is Vooch as the captain. That shit don't matter. Who's the captain? Because I think Vooch is one of the captains of this team. Now, if you're talking about usage rate, if you're talking about having the team go through somebody, I agree. Probably the smartest person to have the offense go through is probably needs to be Nikola Vucevic at this point, right? But I don't know if they have it. I don't know if they have it. Kobe is a solid starting point. Our real issues we give to make second chance, too many second chance points, and get out hustled every game. I agree with that. I'm gonna break down your point here for a second. Tackle fat kids. One, did ownership tell AK to draft Dalen Terry over Walker Kessler? Did ownership choose Patrick Williams over Tyrese Halliburton or Devin Vassell? You know what? If either one of those moves go a different route, again, with smarter GM decisions, this team is not only a playoff team, this same exact team would be at least top 4 in the Eastern Conference. I'm just saying. So you can't blame ownership for everything. And again, why would ownership pay the luxury? And some people wrap up so much in paying the luxury tax. Why would this team pay the luxury tax? You tell me one player that would have changed this team by this offseason by just going into the luxury tax. You're saying ownership made the decision, so you don't know. You're a fucking idiot. Like, if you're saying ownership made the decision to choose Dalen Terry over Walker Kessler and Patrick Williams over, then you're a fucking idiot. I'm sorry. I don't care if I offend you at that point in time. That's just fucking stupid. That's just stupid. Zach on TV right now talking about they gave themselves a chance to win. No fighter mentality at all. Listen, yes, you gave yourself a chance to win, but you got to execute better. You shouldn't even been in that. No, paying the tax doesn't mean you're building the best roster possible. It does not. Paying the tax should be a result of developing your own talent. The Golden State Warriors won 2 titles without paying the luxury tax. So you're telling me that that's the only way that you can prove building the best roster possible? No. That does not change the importance of drafting and developing well. That's the most important thing in all of this. That is the most important thing of all of this, is drafting and developing talent. That is the most important part in getting to a championship, not paying the luxury tax. That is the most important thing. Nets fan here. You guys, listen. I'm not one of those channels where I say when fans of other teams, as long as you come in here respectful, listen, I give all credit to other teams. And the Brooklyn Nets executed down the stretch better than us. That's it. They executed the game better than us. And you guys deserve to win this game. That's it. Fuck ownership paying the tax or blowed up talks. Ask me draft choices have been just straight garbage for the last few seasons. If they took another draft steal, then somebody got to go. I feel you on that one. Definitely feel you. Great way to word this, bro. Paying the tax is like garnish on a steak. You already need the season to give it a great crust. The garnish helps draw the eye. Luxury tax is what you use to crush the margins. Great point on that one. Great point. That's it. Was Maxey drafted after P. Will? I'm not even gonna act like I remember the order. So people just saying anything in the chat. Yeah, that's what happens, bro. That's what happens. Tackle a Fat Kid says, I wish we got Tyrese instead of Pat in the draft. Listen, that completely changes the outlook of this roster. You guys are good. Ben Simmons slapped the ball to Levine, but he missed it. Though couldn't watch that moment. Yeah, man, it sucks when you're in a position to be able to win the game and you just don't, right? I fuck with you because your love is real for the book. Hey, listen, I appreciate that. Life is good, heaven is better. Because listen, I absolutely love the Chicago Bulls. Like, that's not even a question, right? I live and breathe the Chicago. It sucks sometimes, don't get me wrong, but that's I love this team. I love this franchise. And so I'm not a fair weather fan. I'm not somebody who just popped up because of any one thing. Like, I've been a Bulls fan my whole entire life. And yeah, it sucks. It sucks where we are right now, right? Because the simple thing is that most Bulls fans would really respect and have so much love for this team if it just competed with heart, right? The city of Chicago would more than love a team that fought hard, gave heart, that they knew was going to compete and got 41 wins than a team that gets 43 wins. But you look at that team and you say, man, y'all play with no heart when it gets tough, right? That's what a Chicago team is all about. And it sucks, man. It sucks. The analysis about the Olympics, the key factor is in Lithuania's upset of the U.S. in particular was from the field reversal from off-ball movement. Set up weak side, reversal offside, shot percentage 44% to 80%. That's crazy. That's crazy. What would I do if Levine made that three? Yeah, I would have lost my goddamn mind. Like, literally, I would have lost my goddamn mind. Keno says, you and us in the chat have more heart than the Bulls. That's an absolute fact. That's an absolute fact. But all right, fellas and ladies, chat, I appreciate you guys so much. As you can tell, my voice is about out. So I still got to go do Locked On Bulls real quick. So if you want to continue the conversation, please go over and Locked On Bulls. We're going to do like a quick 15-minute post-game show over there. But otherwise, thank you guys so much. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button on your way out as well. We are currently right now. Let me go see the numbers. I got to see the numbers. Give me 1 second, y'all. We are 12 subscribers away for being at 15,300. Before I get off this live, I'm going to stay on for a little minute. Can we get 12 people to hit the subscribe button before we go today? 12 people. You may think you're subscribed, but just because I pop up in your algorithm all the time doesn't necessarily mean you're subscribed. I just post so much. I may the YouTube algorithm may just be doing its thing. Can we get 12 people to hit the subscribe button? Can we get that? I doubt it. Because I plugged it at the end of the show. I already said goodnight. Can we get 12 people to hit that subscribe button real quick? 12 of y'all. Let's see what we can do. Let's see who really messes with Haize. Can we get 12 people? 12 people. I feel like a pastor now. Can we just get 12? Are there 12 saints in the house tonight? Can we get 12 people who love the Lord to hit the subscribe button for the good old boy Haize? Can we get 12 people in the house? If you're under the sound of my voice and you love Jesus, if you love Jesus, hit the subscribe. Now, let me stop. We got Christians in the building. Let me stop making fun of people. Can we get I don't know why y'all follow me, man. I'm crazy. That's crazy. We need 7. Can we get 7 more Christians? Are there 7 more saints in the house? Are there 7 more evangelists in the house? Can we get 7 people that love the Lord to hit the subscribe button? We just need 7. 7. If you are under the sound, if God has been good to you, if God has been good, hit that subscribe button for Haize. Let me stop. That's crazy. That's funny. Oh man. When I post this as a podcast, people are gonna be listening to this like, hey man, this dude crazy. What did we just listen to? This dude is crazy. That's wild. Oh man, that is funny. What's your Instagram, fam? It's at CEO Haize. So CEO Haize. That's my at on every social media platform. I'm CEO Haize on everything. Hugh says I was going to the strip club, but now I feel guilty. Oh man, would you rather have Garpax or Arturas and Eversley to lead your franchise from a roster aspect if you were a team owner? Here's what I'll say is that I would take John Paxson as a GM. Gar, you can keep. I would keep Paxson over any of them because Paxson was really a really good GM when he was just a GM. But yeah. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and end it. We got 3 away. We were 3 short of our goal. Can we get 3? Do we have 3 Christians in the house? Please, let me stop. Do we have 3 real Bulls fans in the house? If you see red, if red has been good to you, which it hasn't because it's been kicking our ass because we've been losing games, but if red's been good to you, if you got on red, if the red that flows through your blood and your veins, if it's red like the Bulls jersey, hit that subscribe button for your boy. Let me stop, y'all, man. I love you guys, man. Have fun. Go Bulls. All that good stuff, man. I can't stress enough what you guys mean to me, man. I appreciate you guys so much. I love you guys, man. Go Bulls. See red. All that good stuff, man. Peace, y'all. We'll be back tomorrow. I got to go rest this voice, man.